mid here. Aurelia, snap locked. That could be top, that could be mid. It is a flex. My big question is just, what is TL's prep for this, right? Last week, this could have been a bit of a curveball. Obviously, that was the arrival of LS. That was the arrival of the Korean squad. In lock-in, they played more standard. They brought out Enchanters mid back-to-back games last week, so it can't take you off guard this time around, right? There was the Karma band out. Obviously, Ivor and Janna, Soraka, etc. are still all up. TL's read could also be, hey, both those teams that got an early game lead over Cloud9, they should have won, and we would win if we were playing those games. And if that's your read, you don't actually have to do anything different. You could just go Victor and try to outfarm, try to outscale. If they believe that they can outscale those enchanters, of course, C9's read is that it's okay to fall behind early when you have the power of the team fight that these enchanters do bring, and that they were still in winning positions. So it does become so exciting to see these different teams' approaches to the game and how that's really going to work out.
There's 0% chance LS lets Fudge lock this one in, obviously. I like the Garen Hyper, though.
Blind Renekton mid?
Yeah, just,
That's not the play?
Blind Renekton top. And Vigard, by the way, is very, very strong, as well as,
okay.
Ooh, we get hard farm with a Karthus, almost certainly in the jungle.
It could be bot. Karthus bot is actually
locked in?
Oh, excuse me. I'm trolling.
Hey, Jin mid.
It could be, mid, I guess. Could be jungle, but probably going to be jungle. Expecting that to be the case for sure. You are right, of course. This would be a very different style of champion for Blabber, though. I don't really associate him with the mage style champions. When you think back to the Rumble Morgana meta, that was one that I think he kind of struggled in. It wasn't one where he was nearly as effective as he has been on a lot of these kind of aggressive melee champions. He's known more for the Lee Sin and for Olaf and things like this. This would be his first career game on Karthus. It could be Fudge playing it, though. I wouldn't be absolutely shocked, because that is kind of feeling like a bit of an LS style champion.
Sure.
But there are options here for C9 to move things around, and Zilean going to get banned out against Bjergsen. He's the only mid laner in any of the major regions that is playing it, but he had a 46 KDA last time I saw, and he hadn't lost on it, so it turns out it's a pretty good pick, at least for Bjergsen.
Yeah, he's overall 14.3 KDA.
Okay.
Outdone by, in the season, not just Zilean.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah. Overall in the season, Bjergsen's at 14. Zerko's at 18, by the way. 8-0 and 10, or 10-0 and 8. Obviously doing very well. Again, less in the hard carry position here on the Jhin. But yeah, definitely a star here as we wait to see mid laners for both sides. Both teams have locked in 80 carries. Both teams have locked in junglers, we presume. And now here's the support match as well. Rakan plus Jhin, very crowd control heavy.
Okay.
You can leave Jhin alone. He's decent at wave clearing after you're at like Noon Quiver. And Rakan can go make plays for someone else.
And this gives you your hard engage, right? This gives you your ability to move around the map for Winston, to be able to pick those 5v5s when you want them. I do think it's important to have primary engage when you're playing with an Aurelia, unless you want to play exclusively through sides. Aurelia is much better as a follow-up than actually the primary engage, generally when you're talking about 5v5. So Corki picked up there for Bjergsen. Some of his kind of flavor champions have been banned out, so he is going to go towards scaling. We're still waiting to find out what top lane is going to be. They don't know if this stuff is getting flexed around, so they're kind of just going safe. They're going standard. Should be Gragas top, Corki mid, TL, very standard stuff. And now we'll see, is this going to be a 5th pick enchanter mid, pushing Karthus into the jungle? Is it going to be, a GP coming through and that being an Aurelia mid? What really is the take here for Cloud9? And this is going to really tell us a lot about how they want to actually play out this game.
So Aurelia Corki is an absurdly Aurelia favored matchup, by the way. Like, as a meta call, Aurelia is there. I'm a little shocked that Bjergsen picked himself into what I believe to be an absurdly hard counter pick. Again, it was a flex pick, but that was the entire point of picking her on 2 and saving top lane for 5 to get the matchup. So he is happy to go mid. And I want to call out that this is good by C9. They read the patch notes. I mean, LS himself does a rundown every 2 weeks. And Ruined King got buffed. Ruined King is a core Aurelia item. She loves that. She's happy to buy Hex Shrinker against a Corki, by the way, right? Against the magic damage that's like decently here on this team. So her suite of tools got stronger. She's going to be happy to play with the new patch. Her matchup's amazing. I mean, Fudge should be in a great spot to take over the game.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting, though, because this is such a different style than what they've brought out. You are playing, I think, a much more early mid-game focused comp. There's that splash of late game with maybe a hard farming Karthus here. Maybe you want to play side lanes and actually use the Karthus to help get you those solo kills and kind of quotation marks with obviously the assistance of that Karthus, but maybe more side lane kills with the Aurelia, with the Aatrox. Aatrox is actually Summit's career most played champion. He is more known for the Gnar. That is kind of what he played a ton of last year. But career-wide 42 games on the Aatrox. Aatrox I have been seeing gain a little bit more popularity in solo queue. So this is going to be really, really interesting. It is actually phase rush for Bwipo on Gragas, so very likely at least going a splash of AP. Almost always you do go phase rush when you're going that route. And it is going to be Blabber having to show us something different, right? Like, can Cloud9 play that same sort of style
right?
That they're used to playing, with Blabber kind of leading the way and starting out a lot of these fights? There's going to be way more onus on Winsome to be the guy getting that done, because Blabber generally is going to be having to play a pretty safe style. It's not like he's doing the kind of more cheesy, exhaust smite Karthus, where you can even, get aggressive and duel out and win some of that with that early exhaust. He has got to play relatively safe, look to scale, and really look to just be assisting these lanes largely with the ultimate.
I do like this look, though, right? So Karthus is the only robotic damage threat on the team. Steric's Gauge as a bruiser tank item is basically dead. Very few champions should be buying it, which means you're seeing, a Death Stance, or in this case, a Ruin King on Santorin, which means he's got 300 health from his Divine Sunderer and no bonus health on item 2. So he is just taking almost true damage from Karthus. He is going to get burned down. He's not going to buy MR anytime soon. He's probably not going Merc Treads here. And Blabber, as the 1 AP threat, is going to have a great time getting a ton of farm and just being a huge carry.
It'll be interesting because he is playing First Strike. He's playing Ultimate Hunter, Cosmic Insight, so pretty heavily going into the CDR. And if you can get those early Ultimate Hunter stacks and you can kind of get that cooldown down, you can actually farm a hilarious amount of gold with First Strike on Karthus by kind of just ulting pretty aggressively. Of course, you don't want to just use it absolutely needlessly. You want to be able to create windows where there's threat for a kill and then drop it, at the very least, to get some sort of serious lane pressure. Karthus is also one of those champions that actually really does test how well you know the clear. Because really, really expert level Karthuses can do these clears sometimes 20 to 30 seconds faster than what we were seeing even pro players do it as when it came into meta in the past.
Yeah, if we're doing it really well, the entire jungle is dead before 315. You are 6 camps before Scuttle spawns if you're doing a good clear here. So we'll keep track as this one goes. Obviously, you're kind of plugging E on and off. You don't have enough mana to always have this happen. You're trying to optimize around single target Qs on the big camp. It does double damage if it hit only a single guy. You're always kiting towards the lane, so as wolves die, you're already in mid. Flash play on the bottom side. The Berserker already ignited, stays alive. Nice little bit of CC from Winsome trading back on a Hansama. Early ignite is down. Ayla down Flash, but of course has Hex Flash for round 2.
Yeah, they do have the HP advantage, but that's a boot start for Jhin, so he has more than enough sustain to actually get right back, and all they ended up getting was the heal for both the Flash and the ignite there from Ayla. So I would say, all things considered, pretty darn good for the Cloud9 bot lane. And Blabber seems to be actually burning through this very fast. I mean, he had a leash, so of course you can do it even faster, but this is going to be like a 255 full clear here, which is ridiculously fast. He's going to be able to be, out towards that scuttle, continue that power farm, and if his lanes can stay stable, he is going to be feeling really, really good.
Yep, only difficulty can be the health bar gets a bit low at the end here. Early game red buff regen is not terribly high. Easy lay waste to knock down most of them, and got every single one. So beautifully done. 304. 304 camp is done. He's looking top lane. Yeah, he goes through a ward, but he's there in cases of play. Whippo just burns the first body slam, and now a play in the bottom lane yet again. Winsome has to be careful, cannot jump over the chompers. Flash away. Second shuttle kill, and that is an over-aggression by C9's bot lane. And now Santorin's here for round 2. Berserker has no way out. That's the kill. Beautifully done. Team Liquid crush the bottom lane.
Not long into this game, and they've already gotten Berserker's first death since playing in the LCS here, taking him out. It was incredible last weekend, but early on, TL running the show here. The aggressive plays on the 2v2, calling Santorin down, top to bot clear, ends up behind him, and they get the wraparound for that second kill. TL off to an incredible start here. It's not even 4 minutes in, and you're 1k up.
As Whippo takes some farm down there, it's going to be 6 CS lead in the top lane. We also fight again. Chomper's really good, by the way. They block out Rakan's way out after this fight.
Yeah, so he goes in kind of aggressive, I think, trying to almost, dodge out on the hook, but then he has to walk the long way out. And this is really, I think, showcasing the power of Glacial Augment. Just landing the Flay and putting that slow zone meant that it took him so long to actually walk around the chompers there. You were getting free fired on by the Jinx that entire time, and that is why people are taking this and actually foregoing Aftershock. But to have that additional utility is so incredibly powerful. If you do not have a way to actually dash out of it,
Yep.
you were just basically full on CC'd.
And it means win some kind of Reddit run, right? Because he can flash over the chompers and just cut his losses really early at half HP, but didn't think, oh, I'm already dead here. And, you know, again, misjudges it. Okay, fair enough, it happens, but we're onto the map now with a 1,000 gold leaded Team Liquid. Sure, the Karthus has cleared more camps, but TL's, I mean, to be fair, TL's bot lane got a 2-on-2 kill straight up, and then also got Santorum for the second one, so obviously looks really good down there. Bwipo has taken his first recall, his first TP back, now stacking a tier with his Doran's Ring, and just doing okay so far early on.
And I wonder, with the tier, you know, I was thinking he was going to go into AP, because generally you see Phase Rush a lot more with AP. You know, when people go full tank, they're often just kind of scrapping with Grasp. But with the tier, that's making me second guess that and thinking he may be going into a more of a tanky route here. It's possible, of course, he just gets tier for lane and then, you know, grabs some AP items. But I am kind of second guessing my initial read.
Both versions though. Like I've seen tier go into Seraphs because it is health and it's health on spellcast and whatnot. Like it's not, you know, you can go that way or you can obviously go Fimbulwinter as you're kind of alluding to. Ruby Crystal doesn't tell us anything new.
No, but I have a feeling. I have a feeling that it's going to be Fimbulwinter Rush and just kind of playing that style. And if his job is to just kind of answer sides, I think a tankier build makes more sense. You know, maybe his feeling is, hey, I'm not going to win the side lanes against the Aurelia or the Aatrox, so I'm just going to go tanky. I'm going to hold the wave, and I'm going to use Phase Rush to disengage any potential all-ins. Because you have Corki and Jinx, you don't really need more damage. Even Viego is very high damage, so I think that it actually makes quite a bit of sense, even though it's maybe the less common of the kind of pairings, tank plus Phase Rush.
Well, right now, going to check on Fudge's build path. Right now, could go Triforce, could go Ruin King, which I think is most likely. Also, Stridebreaker is a possibility. I think that item's actually been pretty good. After the other fighting items got changed around, it's not, you know, less tanky than the other options, so that CC can be valuable. So we'll see where it goes in as time goes on. Cooldown Boots Rush for Summit gives him a ton of priority over that lane. He's got a ton of basically total AD ratio, so spell base damage is quite high. Can just kind of stack haste early game and then go towards the... by the way, Stridebreaker Aatrox, by far best Aatrox build. Even with the healing amp, it's like a 4% higher win rate than Gore Drinker. It's actually just like amazing on him, and the setup CC just makes your other stuff land. So that is a build I want to see happen more over time. Is Stridebreaker Aatrox, though it is pretty uncommon right now. Yeah,
fairly uncommon, but I do think it can work really well. You're talking about setting up for the CCs and the slow into your W, and the slow into a sweet spot with one of your Qs can be incredibly high value. Of course, people really do like some of those kind of more, you know, tanky options, obviously going towards Gore Drinker, so that seems to be the autopilot. A little bit of a mess up there. Not going to slow him down too much, and has just been kind of power clearing through. He has his blue, his ult is ready, so I think that they would like to try to look for a play here. If you can get some sort of aggressive move where you can get value out of the ultimate, you're going to be feeling really good about kind of getting that on cooldown early, getting some value out of your first strike, starting to farm some additional kills, and look for those ultimate hunter stacks.
Worth noting that Santorum has kept up in farm, though. Obviously, again, got that gank down the bottom lane. Blabber tried in top, but Little got to play around it pretty well. Similar camp count, though, for the jungler of Team Liquid, so they're kind of just chilling right now as the lanes are going really close to equal. Mid lane is identical. Bot lane's ±6 with after the kill, kind of expected. Top lane basically identical as well, so a pretty chill early game. And as you mentioned in the early draft, C9 maybe a bit more focused towards early mid game. 8 minutes in, it's not like early game has ended just yet, so it's not like there's an immediate timer. But, you know, do want to see them get something done before too long.
Yeah, it's really just such a different look than what we'd seen in other games, right? They've actually lost all 3 early games so far, you know, in their LCS season. The other ones, though, was kind of the comeback based off of these dragon fights, utilizing their enchanters. If they can pull off the same thing here remains to be seen. If TL will even give them those fights remains to be seen. Because they could try to use some of the early game power, you know, of things like the Aatrox, the Aurelia on one item to try to go towards a second dragon, start to snowball that themselves. But because TL grabbed the first one, you're not really in any threat of a soul snowball. So I'm curious to see where they want to go. And right now, it feels like they're happy to just kind of just farm it out, play it really slow. And TL is going to be very happy to do the exact same when you're playing Jinx and Corki.
You can see Bjergsen playing it pretty far back. Fudge going for his second attempt here. His stun is on cooldown. It doesn't go for the ulti out of the tower. That would have been a bit too much damage. Valkyrie back would have meant Bjergsen was safe, but obviously Fudge wants to play this lane as both of them at half HP. He's got more sustain. He's got the Pocket Karthus ultimate. That kill can come through if he gets him low enough. An attempt towards bottom lane, not really going to happen. Zap sidestepped as well as Blabber says hello. He's going to walk back and kill his Gromp in about a second.
Blabber's just really trying to maximize farm, but they're... Oh, nice hook!
Good hook into Zap, into a ton of damage, and Berserker will die for the second time. Halves his KDA in 9 minutes, and now Winsome so terribly low. Sidesteps the rocket, no problem, but turret, yes, with a Rift Herald is going to be under fire and may drop here.
Yeah, and we'll see if they can actually keep the Karthus away from that tower. Blabber looking like he doesn't even want to try to contest, so they're probably just going to give up at least 4 plates here, unless Santorin wants to hold on for later. Oh, nice ult back into the tower.
One
Doesn't
turret
have
shot.
mana, though.
Yeah, and I think Body Summon's already on cooldown, so can't get much more done. Summon ults just to make sure he can sustain back up with the Qs. And it's ult for ults, and you can see the farm lead has grown now. Summit has run Whippo out of mana, and he's running him out of farm. May even get a turret plate down here as well. Keep in mind, Karthus' ulti is up. If Summit finds the angle for an all-in, Whippo only has flash to outplay it. Ooh, that second Q, that's good damage. That could be a flash kill. That, I think, flash kill plus Karthus would have maybe been lethal damage. Would have been really close. Could have maybe, just maybe, looked for a kill on Whippo.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. They could have gone for it. Would have been really close. It's hard to know because the W is such low cooldown, gives damage reduction, and you have the passive heal coming through. And if you commit your flash there and it kind of goes sideways, can feel a little bit rough. Another Ruby Crystal coming in, so very likely going to be Fimbulwinter, but he is kind of committing to the early game a fair bit here. It'll be interesting to see where Summit can get to. Generally, if Aatrox can have the push, you're feeling pretty good in a lot of these melee versus melee matchups because you hard shove the wave to the tower and then you harass them trying to farm these range minions. Every single range minion Gragas really has to work for because Aatrox can stay out of range of that tower while still hitting you with the Qs, harassing you with the W. So you only really get access to the melees for free, and that is going to make these CS leads grow and grow and grow unless the Gragas can kind of play it perfectly.
Yeah. Well, the build path for Summit is going to be Gorgewinker. Caulfield's going to that one now as Package is burned out and Fudge flashes the Q back to a minion to stay alive as the Whippo attempted gank could have been too much for him. Ulti was down, wasn't sure on the cooldown though. TL regardless going to get second Dragon now in the bottom lane. They are heads up winning the bot lane 2-on-2. Ayla and Hansama crushing it. Here's another one, flight into the chompers. The charm going to mean almost nothing, but Jin's going to open up for a bit more. Will it happen? Ayla gets low, they got to block the shots, otherwise Karthus would kill. Low health bar, Santorin may pop. He might die. Ooh, just barely lives. But Fudge is in for a cleanup on the board. Cloud9 find a kill. Santorin at 1 HP. Smites for health. Finds a stun. Finds a bit more damage, but will die. Cloud9 on the board with 2. A flash away for Hansama.
This is 3 straight games. Fights in this area of the map that Cloud9 is behind on. They're able to find a fight. They're able to get a bit of a comeback play on that. Starting out there, TL looking for the pick on Winston, but just didn't have the damage to get that kill right off the bat. And C9, with the collapse, with the turnaround there, getting high value out of this multi-man Karthus ult that everyone can kind of follow up on. Fudge was around, and now they're even looking to follow through here and try to get Hans. At the very least, they'll be able to get a plate or 2 here for themselves. But we'll have to back it up.
Speaking of getting a plate, Santorin didn't summon Herald when they were sieging bot. So I agree with your synopsis that that would have been a lot of money. He wanted, I think, to get the entire turret, and you want to wait till it's down to 3k health before you summon, and they never got that far.
Wait, he actually
but
he did summon. Yeah,
but now it gets summoned somewhere garbage, and maybe it still crashed, right? Maybe it still works to get the money at the end of the day. But that's a bigger risk as they are playing towards bot side. If C9 can roam down, they can prevent a lot of gold from going over.
Yeah, I mean, Blabber's moving down, Fudge is moving down. I think they're too slow, unfortunately for them. They're not going to be able to stop the actual charge, so they will get that off and grab that 4th plate. So disaster kind of averted there for TL. It ends up being okay. But you can see all of the emphasis on vision towards this bottom side. I mean, look at all these wards. This whole section is just all Cloud9. That is where they have really made their money in the LCS. All 3 games, finding fights in this bottom side river, capitalizing on opponent mistakes, opponents overextending, has been incredibly, incredibly effective for them. Fudge now does have the Blade of the Rune King off that, so he's on a really strong item power spike. But Bjergsen is going, a fairly defensive build here. This is not the Luden's kind of AP style. This is going to be shield bow. It does give you a lot more safety against an early all-in, just to have that defensive kind of pop. And if you're expecting there to be a high amount of sustain between the Aatrox and the Irelia and these types of champions, and you're thinking poke is going to be less effective, having a higher DPS AD build, I think, can be more effective.
For sure. And so he's going to be surviving, and he's going to be team fighting quite well, knocking down some of the melees. As he'll probably be attacking Summit a lot in these team fights. Gorgewinker is in for the man. Silver Ruby probably turns into a Bomby Cinder for Gragas when he buys. Turret plates are down. 14 minutes in, and we check in. 200 gold lead to Cloud9, but 2 Dragons to TL puts me in the driver's seat based on just the scoreboard at the top. And we can see if there's a top push to happen, but not really going to come through. Summit going to clean out most of the wave, and Hansama will go for some poke, but will it mean much is the question as most of the wave dies. Single cast minion is dropped, not a big problem.
Gonna be interesting to see if it's a second item Shadow Flame here for Blabber, if he's just gonna try to go like straight towards Death Cap or something. Already has the Leandries, so likely gonna want to get some Sork Boots in there pretty soon. I do think Shadow Flame is really, really effective with Sork Boots when you're the solo AP threat because you get so much of that Magic Pen and no one's building any defensive stats. Bwipo though,
He's gonna find the knock-up, ignited as well. Bwipo's gotta be careful, has an ulti, looks for it, doesn't find it, no one's back into the tower. Winsome sadly claims the kill, didn't want to get that one, but Ignite got the tick. That is still going to be a turret dropping in the bottom side. First turret of the game, 150 bonus gold. Almost all of it going towards the 80 carry of Berserker. TL now going to overload top side for real. Seeing that Blabber's on the far side, they'll trade a turret back.
And they have a second Herald here, so we'll see if they want to continue the push. Based on the positioning of Ayla, they are just going to back it up after this and try to use that Herald very likely to crack the last tier 1 mid. But Bwipo, I think, getting a little bit overconfident based on the fact that he is a tankier, that he's building defensive. Thought he might be able to hold that turret, but honestly, the CC chain between Winsome coming in, knock up, you have the route to follow, you're getting multiple guaranteed Karthus Qs off onto this guy who doesn't really have any MR. I mean, built up a null now, but he didn't even have that prior, so Karthus was really shredding through him. Sork Boots do come through, so I am expecting probably you go towards Shadow Flame, you just stack up that Spell Pen, and really look to do massive, massive amounts of damage because you don't want to be building any MR against Aurelia, Aatrox, and Jhin. It's just not cost effective, but it does allow Blabber the chance to really take over in this game. And he's 2 levels up on Santorin currently. It's probably not a full 2, but that's a big deal. I mean, he's just been cruising, power farming this whole game. You know, he has as much farm pretty much as some of these, farming carries.
Yeah, and it's going to look good for him. I mean, individual gold's going to be pretty high up there as well. I think he was able to share in, he might have shared in some of the bot turret gold. Obviously, he got to share on the assist down there on the Bwipo kill, but is farming well. Top lane under a bit of fire. Right now, though, it's going to be an ulti to, I don't know if they're stopping recalls. I mean, he can just earn some money. Of course, he is level 11, has, I believe, 3 individual stacks on Ulti Hunter, since there's only 3 individual deaths. He's got all the assists, so pretty short cooldown.
Yep, and first strike off of 2 ultimates has given him 390 gold. So, not bad.
He also ganked once.
He did gank once. I'm not sure how much he actually gained off of that, but pretty much, off of those 2 ultis, he's gotten that. And his ultimate cooldown is about 2 minutes, but if you're saying, well, we're not going to fight again until the next dragon comes up, well, it's not that big of a deal. Farm a little bit of gold here. Maybe that gets him an item completion. We'll see when he does actually go back to base, but yep, 3 stacks of Ulti Hunter. Has Futures Market available, has First Strike available, so that second item, Power Spike, will come in probably pretty soon.
And looking at that ulti, he hit it when his team was finishing killing Dragon as they claimed Dragon number 2. And it's like, well, second Herald's down, Baron's up for 3 minutes, Dragon's up for 5 minutes. In solo queue, don't make this play. Yeah. In solo queue, someone's going to just run up there and fight somebody. In this kind of game, C9's going to play it slow. They'll wait 2 minutes. And
I can tell you, they are all very well aware of this. Everyone on their team, as soon as he pressed R, they're spamming Karthus 70 seconds, Karthus 50 seconds. Fudge is pinging it, Blabber is pinging it. They're very clearly saying, hey, do not fight until Karthus Ultimate is ready, and that's generally the way you want to play with this champion. It's such a powerful tool that you need to really kind of craft your fights around it and make sure that you have it ready to go every single time you're looking for a major engagement, whether it's a 1v1 in the side lane that can get that assistance or a major conflict around something like the Dragon or the Herald or the Baron. You've got to have that ready. And so far, it is Cloud9 with the vision advantage towards this bottom side river, but TL want to move in and try to reclaim that. They do have the Dragon advantage right now, but most of their vision had been towards the top side of the map, and you're kind of in this split map situation where Cloud9 has all these wards down in this area, clearly trying to set up to allow Fudge to start pushing out more heavily in that bottom lane. And up on the top side, it's all this vision for TL, trying to kind of emphasize different sides of the map, and that really does show you where they've been putting their priority.
Yeah, but of course right now, Dragon's the part that matters, right? You mentioned it before, 3 games in a row, it's the bottom river fights that have worked for C9, now TP to the bottom lane, careful to 2v1, explosive cast back, and Fudge has had no chance against Bwipo. It's gonna happen again, Bjergsen shows up, sends him back down, there's a kill on the board. That should not quite kill Bwipo, indeed it will not. It was up from cooldown, that's nice and all, but he is a tanky Gragas with a Mythic.
So he was at 390 gold. A little update, 618.
Wow.
So he got 240 gold thereabouts off of that. Pretty huge amount. That's almost a kill. And that is one of the powerful things about this build, is that you can actually play this setup, and especially if you're playing in solo queue and you can get 5 early Ultimate Hunter stacks, you can start to kind of spam this out and get very, very rich. Of course, if you're being too silly with it, you get 200 gold, then you go into a fight, you don't have your ultimate, and your team loses. Well, that's not worth it. But still, seeing that you press R and you get almost an entire kill's worth of gold is pretty crazy.
Yeah, so your ultimate right now is a pass that reads, you gain 2 gold per second. Congratulations, you're roaming Janna. You know, like that's... That, now,
it sounds cooler the way I said it.
It is cooler.
Take it back.
I just like, you know, recalculating things in terms of other numbers.
Yep.
And to be fair, in a game where nothing's happening, earning 2 gold per second is not bad.
Especially when he's at 9 CS per minute now, right? He is farming very, very effectively.
He's richest, except for, you know, the other 2 on TL, but richest on his team.
He's richest except for the people that are richer than him.
Yes, richest of Cloud9. we'll recalculate and use that as our barometer.
Recalibrate here.
Yeah. My bad.
Get back on track.
Yeah, my bad. But there we go. See, total gold. Bjergsen and Hans Sama, the marksmen of Team Liquid, are the ones with the money. 2 dragons to their name, and Infernal Soul is the name of the game here as time moves on. 1:14 to go. We know Karthus ult will be back up. This is the fight to look for because now both teams have everything ready to go. Second item spike is in for both the bot lane carries. 2 item spike is in for Bjergsen. We're almost there for Fudge. Minute to go till he has a finished Trinity Force, and that'll be the big fight.
And man, you can actually see that they're getting pretty worried about this Karthus. It's actually a Hex Drinker coming through here for Santorin, right? And that's something that you definitely do not want to be forced into when these are 3 of the big carries on the other side. You're going to get no value from that. I do think Ma is incredibly effective now, you know, overall. The magic damage shield scales with your AD. You get the lifeline passive again, so it's a really, really strong item if he's going to be building towards it. But that being said, not nearly as effective as it would be in a multi-AP game, which you would kind of be expecting. Even the stopwatch, I feel like the stopwatch is more about the Karthus ultimate and being able to deny that on the side of Bjergsen. There is high value there, and he can later build it into a GA, but it's going to be rapid fire third here for the Corki. Likely pick up an IE later, so probably going to be sitting on that stopwatch for a long time.
Interesting risk taken here. The ulti is down for Hansama, but it stopped Blabber's recall, so no death cap, no reset, no way back in as the Dragon setup is here. TL spending resources to make this fight a little bit easier, but they are without Super Mega Death Rocket. They have Corki package, but no death cap on Blabber. Level 13, so all his damage abilities are matched. He stopped scaling aside from gold from this point on, basically.
Are they too slow?
And they're trying to burn it.
It's going down.
I mean, they're keeping him zoned out, right? You've got some chompers down pretty soon, and that's going to be a burn. That's going to be the kill picked up. Karthus ulti for a little bit of something, but is it going to matter as Summit is dropped low into the front line? Winston wants it, flashes back to safety. Gentle opens up as well, but Summit will drop as TL scale and find that kill. Out they go. Dragon and a kill. Team Liquid playing the mid game better.
And playing it much better there. C9 just couldn't find a way in, and they tried to kind of force it there pretty hard. They dropped the Karthus ult. Yes, that's a couple hundred more gold in the pockets of Blabber, but that combined with the Jhin ulti is supposed to be their opening. Summit goes over the wall, but he was so low when he did go in that he's able to just kind of be knocked down here, and Cloud9 are in trouble because that is sole point now for TL. Their carries are outscaling, and TL is just playing stock standard game here. Cloud9 doesn't have an enchanter in the mix, doesn't really have anything too crazy unless you kind of consider that Karthus to be their real big trump card. But even that, I mean, it's paired with 2 solo laners that I don't consider to be real big scaling picks, so they're not really playing a super late game comp, and they're playing it slow against a team that has both Corki and Jinx, and that is going to be very, very difficult to deal with here unless they can get some sort of side lane pressure, unless they can get something going with this Aurelia and this Aatrox that have been pretty absent throughout the game.
They have been, honestly. Fudge was trying in the side lane. We saw Whippo actually handled him in the 1v1. We saw Bjergsen TP down, but it looked like Whippo won that one anyway. Like, he was already ahead, 80% health, and so that's looked really good. Unfortunately, Fudge, hasn't quite made it work. Like, his best games have been on the ones where he's on Soraka, right? He's just like, yeah, I'll just heal Blabber. It's fine. We'll just, play through him. And his individual plays haven't quite been there, unfortunately. We'll see as time goes on, though, as he's got his second item. Triforce is in. Death Cap is in. Death Stance now here for the Aatrox as well. I mean, these are some good power spikes to be sure, as Hansama goes towards a Bloodthirst to make sure he stays safe. And we're seeing that TL are forced into, against Skarner's the QSS tax against this Karthus. It's like, the defensive option tax, where, yeah, we've got against 1 AP Hexmaker second, you know, it's Bloodthirster third for Jinx when she would
an early stopwatch.
love to go IE. Right, you know, the shield bow Corki build, he's not going for poke, he's going for, let's make sure I don't get one shot by anything, and, you know, that can matter as you know, team fights open up if no one's building against the Jhin yet.
It definitely can, but I actually think it's pretty smart, you know, going into the lifesteal there, because Karthus, especially now on Deathcap with that spell pen, that is a very threatening ultimate. If you don't have lifesteal in the build, just that ultimate can say, okay, now you can't fight anymore because the threat of someone diving onto that Jinx and finishing off is incredibly high. But with the shield bow and the Corki, with the Bloodthirster coming up here on TL, can't do that, but they're going to look for the engage, and the TPs are coming through. It's double TP.
Flank not quite on the toppers yet, though. Is going to be enough. Those fight to the front line, looks towards the bot lane. It's a flash to save the Hansama. Summit getting low, but he's healing back up against the Corki. Never delaying his death, and he will finally. No, he cleanses it. If he didn't kill Bjergsen, he was going to die as Death's Dance would have ticked him down. So Summit solo kills the TL mid laner.
And this is huge for them. That is their big swing, and now they're going to try to turn it into something more. They need the Baron here, so they're starting it up. Whippo is there. Hansama has healed up off the Raptor camp. He's coming over, but that Baron is going down so fast. Santorin has ulti, but no flash. Can he actually get in the pit here?
Stealth, can he find his way in? Wards, where are they? Vision is needed, and jumps in, can't find it. He'll die as it's Berserker who claims the kill, claims the Baron. Cloud9 have it. Cloud9 walk away the 3,000 gold lead.
Man, they pull it off again. It feels like they keep getting these rough situations, but they're finding ways to fight out of it. The double TP flank coming through. Beautiful setup there from Cloud9. They hard engage off of this, and these close fights end up going their way. This was just really nicely done. They're pushing out both sides. TL comes for the collapse, but it's an instant double TP. The ulti from Karthus in the back can't be stopped. Whippo tried to move forward to actually ult it on the Gragas. Unfortunately, it was a split second too late, and that meant all of these health bars were softened up. Their three-man core had to kite back in mid lane immediately. Hansama had to Gale Force and flash out. He was incredibly low. And we're back to live. Nice sidestep.
Huge by Fudge. A lantern there for safety. Whippo will live, but mid lane turret will not, as that one's answered after the Baron play. And so far, Rebel Baron buff, 2,000 gold lead, Cloud9. Not going to quite siege mid yet, going to play for the bottom vision instead.
And this may actually prevent TL from being able to play for this next dragon here, for looking for that soul point. It's a TP flank now, though, from TL. Oh, the ultimate got stopped!
Oh, that's big. Bjergsen is packed as well. Will he team fight? Looks like not just yet. They flay and win some, and now they can look for a fight here. A flash away for Blabber, just barely alive. Bjergsen holding the package. In the backline, we have more action as Whippo shuts down one. That's going to be rough for Santorin. Jumps over the wall, just barely stays alive. Whippo lower and lower, but Fudge can't kill him just yet. Bjergsen now looking for a bit more as they push back on Hansama. He will drop, and just barely Fudge will live. Santorin on the way out, a knock up there for Summit, and he wants that kill back. Whippo on the way away, just barely living. 2 dead on TL's side, 2 slain for Cloud9.
That is such a close fight, but C9 fight their way out of it. Berserker and Summit staying healthy. That means they will get the ultimate prize of this dragon, stopping the soul there from TL. It looked like it was TL's fight to win on that initial play, because they were able to actually prevent the Karthus ult from coming through. You thought that might be the difference maker. When Karthus goes down early, he doesn't even die at a good spot. He can't get the ulti off, but the rest of C9 getting so much value, and Blabber just too close to actually these wards when he's starting up the ulti. I think he thought he was safe here because they have the Jhin ult creating space, but he just does it in their face. Santorin W flashes in, stuns him up. Blabber has to flash out, and you can see the flank here from Whippo. He's going to wrap around, and as Blabber is actually pushed out, he comes in for that cleanup kill. But Summit now on the corner here. He comes around to arrive as they hook in onto Berserker. Summit straight forward, gets the kill, gets the reset, pushing Santorin back, and he is incredibly healthy here fighting from the side. Fudge queuing over to those minions, regrouping with the team, getting the kill with his W. The Triumph heal keeps him alive. Slim margins, but great team fighting there from Cloud9, fighting their way out of what was a very difficult situation. Off of a great capitalize there from Santorin, punishing Blabber for being a little bit too far forward. That could have been game-changing. If they win that fight and they get soul, that could be game-losing, but credit to Cloud9 for being able to make it work.
Summit's done a lot. I mean, honestly, he has been such a huge factor that obviously he can't be really the one killed first. He's too tanky and able to wear someone down in the topside fight, right? He solo killed Bjergsen basically, and this one he did so much to force everyone else away, that it created space for everything else to do nicely. So Cloud9 are able to claim that second dragon. You can see their gold lead growing and growing. They still have to face Soul Point. They know it's always going to be a consideration every 5 minutes.
And one of my concerns is the lack of actual heal cut, over on this TL side. When you look through, there's a Bramble Vest and then an Ignite, and that's it. And Summit's self-healing is getting ridiculously high. He even goes in towards the Spirit Vestige third here, so going to be able to help him deal with Gragas and Corki, but also really amp up that self-healing that is already getting to these ridiculous levels here with this high-level Aatrox, level 16, Gore Drinker in, Aurelia self-healing is going to become pretty high as well. So they're going to have some heal cut, or if Aatrox gets in the middle of your team, he's going straight back to full with one Q that lands in the Gore Drinker. Oh, wow, interesting. So Hansama did actually just make a pit stop for the Vamp, not going into full BT, feels that he needs the higher DPS, so I think this is a great adaptation if you just feel like you need a little bit of sustain to be able to heal through that poke, expecting the ultimate to soften you up, heal back up off the wave, go towards the IE to really emphasize that, and now does realize the problem, picks up the Executioners here, and I think that is an important buy. But Blabber is becoming terrifying. He now completed the Shadow Flame, so a lot of flat spell pen. There's 0 MR on someone like Hansama, on someone like Bjergsen, and that is a lot of AP that is going to be behind this ultimate. He is level 16 on the Karthus. You're talking 900 damage before procs, before the amp from first strike as well. So well over 1k damage that's going to come out from that button on every single player. Of course, mitigated by your base magic damage, but still, that is a lot of damage coming out. And if Cloud9 can capitalize on that with an immediate follow-up from Fudge, Winsome, Summit, etc., they can win a fight off it.
Yeah, because keep in mind, he's got 30-something Magic Pen against pretty much every target, so it is going to deal almost 2 damage to Hansama, and that's going to be a pretty big threat. So what is next on the map? 90 seconds until the Dragon comes up. Once again, that would be Soul for Team Liquid. We've got a Baron, though, even sooner, 15 seconds away. Hansama just keeping the farm going. As he mentioned, there is that pit stop for the Executioner's Calling, so delaying, and actually just never gets to buy now a Lord Dominik's or anything else for higher DPS. Just going to be doing his best to wear down an Aatrox on 3 items. Be careful. Body Slam is in. Pulled around Explosive Cast. Ulti is solid from the Karthus now. Is it enough, though? Whippo tanking the front line. Out they go. A bit of poke is
They're
done.
Going to try to start Baron off of it.
Whippo's almost dead. Does size up the last shot that hits Ayla down to half HP. And so they try with lower health bars. Do TL walk up? They might have to try, but the vision's not there for him. Blue Trinket used, and not going to find the root just yet, but they're just going to burn it down. That is Baron claimed. That is TL zoned out. Mapper taking the fight now afterwards. First kill's going to come down. Ayla is gone. Fudge walks away. Summit goes back in, though. 1v4 for a bit. Very tanky. Zonya's Hourglass. That's going to buy him some time. That's going to kick him out, and they will
reset
down. That's one in for Hansama. But the other second, there's Blabber going down. No ulti, nothing else to do. Try to back, though, as Centauran is down. Could not find a corpse. Explosive Cast. Rocket 1 is not a threat, but the red buff does enough. Hansama on for 3 kills.
What a game so far, Freak. Back and forth. These two titans in the league are slugging it out. Cloud9 utilizing the Karthus ult to just get a chunk and actually start up the Baron, and now they're trying to go for Soul here. Blabber is dead, Berserker is dead, Summit is dead. It's up to only Fudge and Winsome. I don't think they can test here. I think it has to be.
They're not allowed, right? It's illegal. It's 3v2. You're gonna package again.
All right, so back to the previous play. This is post-Karthus ultimate. Cloud9, just immediate rush down on this. They get that first kill. The start of the play looks great for C9, but then you're kiting back, and you're going through these corridors where it is very, very difficult. Ayla dropped the box that everyone had to walk through. Bjergsen is safe. Hansama is safe. The TL frontline have done their job. They get those resets, are pushing them back, allowing that scaling to really take effect from the Corki, from the Jinx, and then over the wall here, they get vision with the rocket, with the chompers coming through, with the ultimate coming through. Doesn't get the crit, but does have the red buff. The burn is enough to get him a kill. Now he has the BT completed off of that play. Hansama truly online here. Highest damage dealer, just barely over Berserker in that last fight. And he is going to be such a huge threat because they couldn't force the flash in the last play.
Oh, that is a great cast backwards. And yes, the Infernal Soul was claimed, and they've also gotten Blabber's head. Down goes the Karth. Level 18 as he dies, knocking down some minions, so he is absolutely done scaling on levels. That last damage graph probably didn't show the Karthus ult. That would have added probably 2k as well, but even post-ult, 2,000 damage done in that team fight. 5k for both bot lane marksman. Hook attempt, not going to find anything. Whippo holds the tower for a bit. He's tanky enough not to die just yet.
And thankfully for Cloud9, the Baron buff is actually a great anti-siege tool because those minions can help you push out, can become very difficult to actually push through here. They don't have great wave clear, though, with this squad. It's pretty much just up to Berserker. Everyone else has very dangerous wave clear, and Ayla is lurking around the side here looking for these hooks, but they're going forward.
Good early damage. No Karthus. Why are you defending a turret? It's 4 versus 5. Cloud9 sends, they lose a top laner, and they may just lose the game. Blabber is still dead. No business defending their base, and they may lose the game for it. As we have an ulti, it's gonna be some decent damage, a Locket Shield. A stopwatch is late for Whippo. Will that be a kill? No, Cloud9 cannot get back in. They're missing a top laner. As the mid inhibitor is down, C9 can farm it for 5 minutes, but they do not have map control anymore.
Cloud9 was trying to thin out those waves. You know, Summit trying to utilize the Qs to help clear it out. Whippo had a great ulti, punishes him on the step forward. They get the kill, but they can't close out this game. Can they stop the recall here?
Oh, no.
Oh, they spotted him.
Whippo with the greedy recall, rooted in place, charmed as well. This has got to be a kill, and it's going to be picked up. Suddenly, Cloud9 get a sign of life. There's not much to take is the problem. Neutrals are down, and the turrets are far from reach, but they will be 5v4 for 45 seconds.
You buy themselves a little bit of time. You can push out the side waves, try to really get the map state in your favor, then potentially look for some sort of play. But these carries are becoming very problematic. The IE is now done for Bjergsen as well. GA comes through here for Santorin, so big pickups for a lot of these key members. Berserker does have his IE. He is big, you know, working towards probably the last item, GA. The GA is probably going to be finished up here pretty soon for Summit. Fudge working towards that as well. So everyone picking up a lot of items here. But it does feel, unless C9 can find those good engages, can find those kind of tricky angles and plays, it's very difficult to just straight up fight against Hansama and Bjerg, who have those summoners who are so incredibly powerful when protected by the front line of Whippo and Ayla. And it's difficult for Aurelia and Aatrox to fight through the Thresh Box and the Glacial Augment Slow and the Gragas and all of these difficulties. So they need to find, you know, clever plays like the Baron Rush or multi-man flanks and double TPs like they were able to orchestrate mid lane. But those are much more difficult to pull off than I would say the win conditions that TL has.
Take the team fight, get a Locket, group up for the Karthus ulti. Keep in mind, Locket's shield decays instantly, so time it well. If you're late, you're really trolling. If you're not too early, it's going to block most of the damage.
And Ayla has been very good, you know, with that Lantern shield as well. Not something that you can kind of overlook. You know, at this stage in the game, the Lantern, you know, is 170 shield to that one ally, so he's been throwing it on Hansama every single time. You add that in, you know, with the Locket shield, which is up to about 385 shielding there. That it does decay down from, so that's a significant amount that you can mitigate. And GA now done here for Han, so he is fully kitted out. BT has the lifesteal to heal through it. That's going to become much less effective unless you drop the Karthus ultimate and immediately force a response. You can't actually drop the Karthus ult and then wait 30 seconds because he will heal the full off of a wave. You kind of have to set it up like they did last time, where it's Karthus ult, instant Baron start. Karthus ult, instant Elder start. Karthus ult, instant flank, or it's going to get no value.
Exactly, they just regen back up, and that's going to be dangerous. Keep in mind, there is a Bloodthirster on the Hansama Jinx, so if she has access to a wave at all, your ult did literally nothing, and she goes back to the full BT shield. Yeah, Hansama, of course, gets to block like 1,000 damage with all the shields combined, BT included. We got to play maybe towards mid, slow, could have looked good. Karthus ulti for the disengage, damage on a Bjergsen.
It got stopped. He got cast on it again. He was too close. Whippo got in there, hits him with the ult on the Gragas. That is a big deal. Late game, this ultimate is such a big part of their composition, and it's a 100-second cooldown still, even with the Ultimate Hunter stacks. So that means it's not going to be available for the Elder fight.
Time to play for Dragon, time to play for Baron. Whippo! Whippo in the front, he gets the charm, and they got the kill. Shut down for one, Trader now, no, just 2 for 0. Looking at the rest of the front line, GA popped now, and that's gonna be Summit left to simply die. The skill shots come early, but he is still gonna drop, buys some time valiantly, but it's not gonna be enough. Overextension though, Ayla gets himself knocked down. They're gonna try in the 2 versus 4, do everything they possibly can, but Bjergsen, or Berserker, doesn't have the damage. Azonia's for a second. GA popped on 1, that's the kill, that's gonna be the ace, that's everyone down, and Cloud9 will drop their first game of the spring split. Team Liquid fight back valiantly from a loss in game 1 of spring. They will knock down Cloud9, and Team Liquid 2-1 in the LCS.
Whippo with the big plays when it counted in the late game here. The ultimate to stop Blabber's Requiem, then the engage over the wall there, finding the perfect angle onto Cloud9. Bjergsen and Hansama able to follow up. TL coming away with a strong win here, but this was a tightly contested game.
Yep.
The early game, again, going heavily towards TL. They had a very comfortable start to this game, but Cloud9, you've got to give credit where credit is due. They found great TP flanks, they found great setups, and ways to actually make use out of this Karthus ultimate. But at the end of the day, it was TL that was more solid, that really, I think, showed up in those final moments when it counted, and was able to have such great performances from their carries, such great performances from Bwipo, to really be that difference maker in the final moments.
Well done to Bwipo. Huge ultimates from the wide Bwipo himself. And, I mean, Blabber on your screen, it's 2 Karthus ults that were whiffed for casting a spell too aggressively.
Yep.
And you're not expecting every single time, oh, die, then ult. Like, a lot of playing Karthus as well is going to be preemptive ones out. Keep in mind, you actually can't get first strike if you die first. You've been in combat already for too long. But they were too far up. One of them, he got blocked by a Viego walking at him and pressing W. Right?
It was a flash W.
Okay, it was a flash W. Walked then flashed then W, but that turned into a kill. And it came even a close fight. The other one, I think, body slam, max range cast.
Max range cast.
So it's like they were too close up. It's credit, of course, to TL for reacting in time and getting those plays out. A lot of credit to me goes to Hansama, 8-1 and 7, or vice versa on the Jinx. Played really, really, really well. They won the 2-on-2 straight up. It then set up for the dive. Okay, great. But, I mean, they were just kind of great the entire time. Those 2 players did outstandingly. And then, yeah, you know, they came back from a rough situation.
I mean, this was honestly a really, really exciting game. It was so back and forth. It did feel like in the early stages, okay, well, it's just going to be TL kind of cruising to a win. But C9 showed that was very clearly not the case. You know, Summit was amazing. Fudge, I think, you know, coordinating with him on those TP flanks really kind of changed the game. That made it very, very competitive.
Well, a very fun game. Team Liquid reign supreme in today's service.